So first of all, thank you so much, and a great pleasure to be here and to be back again after our great discussions yesterday. I have three wonderful panelists. I've been very fortunate in leading the capacity building, and that has really meant that we have brought together some wonderful experienced angels who we've called archangels, and we've had some wonderful angels on the ground in our 6 countries who we have called local leaders, and I've got representatives of those, and especially women, because one of our big missions has been to build many more women angel investors across Europe, and especially in where we have a less developed angel market. So delighted to have joining me today Renata Brick, who is from Croatia, now called Croatia Business Angels. Like to come up, Renata, and also Florence Richardson, who is an archangel from France, which we will be introducing shortly, and also my delightful colleague Teresa Jakova from the Czech Republic. So thank you so much for joining me. And as I said, and thank you, I'm going to begin by thanking you for your amazingly hard work in this project, which has been just wonderful to see. And so we have Renata, who is a successful venture capitalist in impact as well as an angel, and who has been doing fantastic work on the ground in Croatia. And obviously, as I mentioned, Teresia, who is leading a wonderful group called Lumus of women angels who have been actively investing in Czech Republic and more widely. And Florence, one of our leading women angels from France, who was really responsible for building the first women angels movement, Femme Business Angels, the largest community that has been in Europe, and now is a wonderful venture capitalist too with Win Equity, showing how women leadership not only run angel groups but also build great funds to support women too. So wonderful to have you here. I'm going to begin with you, Teresia, because, as I said, you've been running this fantastic group. You've really developed your work there. But also, I think, particularly reaching out to women beyond Czech Republic, I think, has been very important. It's not easy to build a great group of women, particularly in a scarce market. So can you tell us a little bit about how you built this, but also the challenges that you encountered in really encouraging more women to angel invest?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First of all, it's really great to be here and to hear, yesterday and today, obviously, so much inspiration. Also coming from Western Europe, because coming from Central and Eastern Europe, we were actually the first angel group, and we were literally like scouting angel investors, women angel investors, one by one to, invest in startups and support the ecosystem. So for me, it's a big festive day to, see this kind of network here. Thank you very much. We started Lumus 5 years ago, and the name Lumus came very naturally from the thinking we had. We basically had no angel investors, no women angel investors around us. So we simply said, let's be the light we want to see. And we called ourselves Lumus. My 2 co-founders, they are entrepreneurs. They were coming from the Silicon Valley, and they were basically looking for angels for their coming startup. And I was the only person I think they knew in the market. I'm coming from the venture capital industry. I was working in a venture capital fund in Slovakia. And they approached me, and we simply found out that there were really no women investing in startups in Slovakia. And we're like, okay, so let's try to put together a group of women, of our, friends, colleagues, co-workers, who we know are interested, in investing. We know they've got the money, they've got the courage, they just maybe need a little bit of push to actually do this. So we started like very organically, let's say, really from, group of women that were around us. I was on a maternity leave back then, so I had a little bit of time. And it's always been in my head. And we formed a nice group of women, 10, 11 women that we invested in the first startup we found, basically over a WhatsApp group over the weekend. We thought it's working, it's very easy. We got it, we are going to invest. And then more and more women started joining. So we thought like, okay, let's a little bit formalize it, like maybe let's tell them like what we want to do, like how the process works, like let's scout the startups together, let's raise the capital together. And then it was not so easy. So our product didn't work. These women from Slovakia, Czech Republic, they did join because they were really curious. They always ask, our first angels like, yeah, that's so cool. I want to be there with you. I want to invest. I always wanted to do that. I just didn't know how to get into these, circles. I thought you always had to do you had to have a lot of money, like hundreds of thousands. Those were like closed clubs, of people that knew each other and they were not likely to let anyone in. So we really tried to break these barriers. We tried to put the threshold really low to show that, it's not about hundreds of thousands of euros, but if we are more of us together, it's enough if you start with 10,000, 20,000, we put that together, we have 100K.
So Teresa, just to say, this for me is one of the biggest issues that we constantly come across, which is women often don't have the confidence to invest. And as you say, often have this sense that you have to be very wealthy, etc. So what part has education played for you in helping those women to learn how to actively invest and also use their knowledge and skills?
A big role. Actually, every single woman I interviewed, asking her, well, when she told me she wants to become an angel, she wants to start investing, when I asked her about the barrier, why she did not do it until today, education was the number one answer. Women simply do want to feel educated before they make any investment decision. On the contrary to men we have in our club, because we also have a lot of men in our club, we are targeting women, but we obviously have diverse group of investors. We have a lot of men, first-time investors, but never educated themselves, but they take the courage. While women, they do want to take a full course. They want to, have a lawyer explain to them the term sheets. And that's important. I mean, we want to have them feel secure that they know what they are doing. That's fine. Yeah. So I think, first of all, it's the opportunity they get, then the education then they get. And after the education, it's important also to show them experienced angels, to be led by someone who have done it already.
Yes, no, thank you very much. I mean, that is another very important thing, is kind of the way that women can mentor other women and bring them through. And as many of you will know, we ran educational programs in each of the 6 target countries. And one of our big aims was to encourage many more women to become involved through expanding that knowledge, but also giving that confidence to invest. I'm going to turn to you now, Renata, because when we first got together with you, there was not an association of business angels. There was a lot of angels around, but no real entity. And one of the big parts of our capacity building work was to understand the needs in those countries and then start to help them, not us doing it, to take action to make this happen. So Renata, tell us a little bit about the situation in Czech Republic, and then really what you had, in Croatia. Thank you so much for immediately correcting me. Too many C's in my head right now. But no, thank you, Renata. But most importantly, that, the role that, that you have taken, not just Renata, but also Milna, 2 amazing women who took leadership in Croatia.
Thank you, Jenny. Hello, everybody. I'm Renata Brkić from Croatia, and I need to give you the context first. So the Croatia is a small country. We are now below 4 million inhabitants. We are 3.8. And the bad luck was that we entered the EU as the last in the 2013. Then we lost another 200,000 people who moved here to Brussels. So... So we are at 3.8 now, and yes, we are a small community. And once you live in such a country and you work for 20 plus years, then you happen to know everybody and you happen to know everything. And the context was that the risk capital investments in Croatia, there was none, maybe some around 2010. It was a very bank-centric market, and the entrepreneurs were actually, they could go to the bank for the credit, they were not bankable, and that's it. This was the one thing. The other thing was that Croatia is very, we have a beautiful coast, this you know, but selling just the sun and the sea resulted in a very rentier economy, where the people then, the only investments, the first investment they want to make, they want to have something on the coast to rent, and then to sleep the whole winter and wait for another 4 months to make some money, and this is a fact. So this was another thing, and the third thing was then that they realized that real estate is a thing where you invest, and these are the three very difficult things in the context of such a small market, such a small economy, and such a interesting country. However, there are entrepreneurs, there are talents, and there are people like everywhere who want to build the companies. I was one of them. I'm an entrepreneur in the first place, and I was always going around building businesses, raising money from everybody for everything and for everybody, and in that atmosphere. And this is how I have become an angel investor, and later I put together my fund, and I'm now managing Feels Good as a early stage venture capital fund. However, there were guys who got together in 2010, and they formed the Real Business Angel Networks, and they were the mature entrepreneurs with 20 plus experience, and they started investing. There was nothing, because we were not in the EU, there was no technical assistance, so they built their own incubator, and this is how it started. And there was a great angel investors network, all men, just one woman, from 2010 to sometimes 2014 for 4 years. But then they got tired. They did a lot of investments and they were engaged, but then they got tired to run the association because there was no funding, there was no budget. They tried with the government, but this was very, very too early. And then this network somehow faded away. Individual state, and Croatia entered the EU. And the first funds were opened, and we could raise for the venture funds, and then suddenly jumping from the non-existence of the business angels networks, at once we had 3 early stage venture capital funds. Since 5 years ago, it happened in the past 5 to 6 years. And then there was available professionals, the funds, the money, and the investments, but the tickets were too big. The tickets were 1 million euros, and we didn't have the enough deal flow who could absorb such a big ticket. Everybody needed small tickets from 50 to 200.
Yes. So Renata, I mean, and this is more or less how we arrived. We saw this scene on our arrival, and thank you. She's mapped the needs here, and absolutely, really, really interesting situation there where you had these pockets of activity, but none of it was coming together. So can you just, briefly take us through really because we arrived, we found this. When I say we, my colleagues, and they are here actually. My colleagues, we have both João and we have also Reginald, who will be part of the discussions today. But I just wanted to kind of really focus on how did this capacity building and how did our work in coming together with the education, this helped turbocharge?
Yes, this helped a lot. So somehow Mirna, who is the president of the Venture Capital and Private Equity Association of Croatia, and myself, we decided to become local leaders and to take the action. And it was easy for us because everybody was there and we knew everybody knew us. And this injection was needed, that somebody says, yes, we are EISMEA, would you like to do it? Let's do it. And then you were like preaching that we have to do the training, the everything. So you have somehow structured us and made it happen. And once we decided to do it, it was easy. We just invited and we immediately had the 30 30 participants, then there was a percentage of women needed, so we tried to do it, and we could collect, because we knew, we know like 50 women who could become an angel investor, who already invested, who want to invest, but they were just not a part of the networks. And then we had these 2 trainings, and it has become a network of people, and the things started to evolve. And of course, when putting together that first training, we needed to tell something and to have a program. And then we called those guys who founded the first network in 2010, asking them, well, there is something, BIA is coming with the ESIL. Would you come please for a panel and tell your story? And then they said we would. And then, this was 1 year ago, and then we made them come once. We had 2 trainings within 2 weeks. And after the second training, one of them, the founder of the first network from 2010 said, decided to get involved again and to try build a Business Angels Network.
So there we are. And I mean, it sounds like it was easy, but of course, this hard work was done, very much on the ground. But I think one of the opportunities for us to be the catalyst was really, really important. And thank you for all the hard work, but to giving the chance to make that happen. I think it's been very important. I'm now going to turn to Florence, because you have seen the development of particularly women angel investing, and have had all that hindsight as you approached your role in Romania. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about your perspective on women taking leadership, because really this is what we're seeing. It's women taking leadership and making things happen. And, as you can see, totally multitasking women. But, this is really what you have been able to kind of help do, not just your own leadership, but identifying that in other women there. So, Florence, do tell me about your approach and your perspective, both from building FAM Business Angels, but also how you saw this in Romania.
Yeah, and to actually see people rather than in real, rather than on screens, that's much better. So thank you for organizing a live reunion. So I think what strikes me when I hear all this, what you're saying, is that it's always the same. FAM Business Angel was created 20 years ago, and we had to go through exactly the same processes. And one of the key things I was just thinking is that the business angels profiles in women, they are not natural. So they come from either an entrepreneur, a woman entrepreneur, or maybe a VC. But if you go anywhere beyond that, they don't think about it. And so you have to pick them one by one and actually draw them to thinking, oh yeah, I could do it. I don't know it, but it's interesting and I could do it. And that's what we've been doing for 20 years. And we still do that because it's still not natural, even if the communication, education is working, it's still not. So we do need people, women usually, but also men. And I think that's important to say that it's not just a women's problem. It's a global ecosystem problem issue that we need to challenge. So we do need people that are really involved and to do the job. And it's an ongoing job. And when I arrived in Romania, I had out of 6 networks or a few networks, actually one was a very active one run by a woman, Ilinka, and it's because of her that it works. It's nothing else. I mean, she did the job as you did. She went to get the woman she knew. She had the experience. She's young, but she still had the experience, and she syndicated deals, and she works with other networks, and especially tech angels over there. I can see Malin hiding, and they work together very well. So it's not just this network working alone, but it's also this network working with other networks and being able to actually share information, share deals, which helps the whole thing work and grow. But if you don't go and get the women, they won't come to you naturally, and that's the main problem.
No, thank you, and points well made there. I think my other big issue I'd like to talk about today is not just how we build great women angels, but really how we build great women angels who can proactively invest in deep tech and all the strategic technologies that are building Europe's growth here. We know, and all of our research has shown, that not only do we have not enough women founders in those sectors coming forward, but also there is a lack of women from those sectors also coming forward. And we need to build those skills. It's very easy for women to consider that women only invest in what we call the softer areas, but this is absolutely not the case. I wanted to turn back to you now for Florence, because I know that, this has been something you've always taken on, and obviously through Win Equity, enabling women to invest proactively in some of those harder tech areas. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think this is a really important point. It's when I started to invest 15 or 17 years ago, I could see that, we women investors were looked at being the investors who could actually invest in soft projects, whatever related to women. And I hated it because I thought that's not what I'm here for. I want to invest in tech and, project that actually can build the future. And maybe this is because I have an engineer background, but this is what really was interesting. And I really tried to make sure that as a president of Femme Business Angel, the women in my network, they were not scared of that. And it's not because you're not out of a scientific or a tech education, you can't not understand this project. So one of the key things was making and trying to have these women understand that they can bring a lot of added value in fields like business, marketing, finance, anything, which is very important actually, and probably key when you are launching a project. So making them comfortable about the understanding of the project, the value they can add to the committees and follow and coaching the entrepreneurs. So giving them the comfort of feeling I don't know, I don't understand the technical side. It doesn't matter. I can actually bring a lot to the project. And I think men don't have that kind of worry. They look at it and they understand it, or they don't, but they invest. Women, they do need to understand and feel like they understand the thing. So I think one of the key things is to make women understand they can actually invest in a very high-tech project. And this is becoming more and more present because as it shifted so quickly, and you can't follow everything that's going on in deep tech. But it is important to understand what the project can do in the future and actually go for it rather than being scared by the technical aspects. And I think women cannot be out of the picture of building our future. So this is what I tell them.
Thank you so much. Really important. Theresia, I know I have the evidence because we have seen it that you've been doing some great deals in great women in tech as well. And as part of our work on syndication in ESIL, Theresia has been mobilizing women and some men, as you quite rightly said, around some great women in tech in Czech Republic and more widely. So how have you been able to lead that among women, again, as we were just saying, may not naturally have found that so easy to back deep tech?
At some points at Lummus, we actually thought we are too early on the market because we, as I said, like first 2-3 investments worked because it was a closed group close to us. But then, we try to, just like Florence, you're saying that, you have to go and you have to approach women that are, successful entrepreneurs, that that they would be great investors. They just don't think about it. You have to go out to them and you have to, pitch them. Why should they join your group and co-invest with you? And it's difficult to say. I think we are still, figuring that out. But investing in deep tech is a lot more difficult than investing in something, let's say, more mainstream. And the reason is that, indeed, again, like the women need to feel that they understand what they are investing in. And what we do and what we started doing is that we actually approached to convince basically these women and to really like give them like something more in their hands, more understanding. We simply approached a lot of experts, maybe 2-3 experts per deal, who actually provide an analysis. We do like an online kind of a live evaluation. So we really involve the angels in the evaluation before we decide whether we invest in the deal or not, and to really invite the experts to tell them why the technology is good, how it's working, how is the market trends and the future working. And this seems to be working. I think they know who to turn to. They have like a business support in us. They have a tech support in experts we find in the particular field, and this really helped the conversion from women that never invested, turning into business angels and doing their first or second investment. So this is how we tackled it.
Great. I really like this, because we can't assume angels always have the knowledge. Having someone support that due diligence, I think, is something that we've really found has worked. And we've seen this in the evidence of great deals. I mean, they've been absolutely prolific in this program, because I think that was a great approach. So our syndication work has been very important to us to really help to strengthen those syndicates, and I think that's a great approach.
Oh, and one really like a key thing is that these experts, we also always try to make them invest in the company. So, every time there is a syndicate and one of these experts invest in the company, so you have an angel, at least one angel with like a high added value and the knowledge in the market, this is really like a change maker.
Absolutely. And building leadership, having leaders who come from the sector is absolutely fundamental to when you're building a great angel group. Renata, you've been, again, moving fast in pulling your angels together and starting and doing deals. Obviously, one of your challenges has been not enough women, but you are building more women now into your group. You've been obviously, again, tackling some deep tech and some strong technology opportunities. How has that been for you in terms of women coming towards you as well in tech, when you've had quite a predominantly male kind of field of angels up to now?
We now have 15 members of the new network. The network was just formed in spring. We have 15 members. We are 5 women. And we are now deliberately boarding women, so that's why we have many, and we may even have over 50% now. But it's easy because we know who these women are, and you just need to take time, sit with them, explain, and of course they would join. Also men. When discussing the deal flow, so we had already now, maybe we have seen some 25 deals in the 4 sessions in the past 6 months, and half of them were deep tech deals, and actually they were the best deals, and they yield the most interest from the angels, both women and men. But as Theresia said, the technical expertise is needed. But who are we angels or businessmen, whether we are men or women, to judge on the validity of some deep tech invention? I mean, we need to believe the expertise, and if they come from the scientific institutions, and if the guys have invented some solar thing that will be a world breakthrough for the future, we have to believe in that product, and that it is validated. And the challenge with the deep tech early stage investing is that there is that mantra in business angel education that we invest in the team, in the jockeys, not in horses, and so on. But here in deep tech, you invest actually in the product, the team, the scientists. They have already invented it, they have done it. And we then need to believe in the product, but our role is to transfer it to business, and this is where they are not weak, but it's not up to them. They have done their job, and we need to help the business development. And I think this is the angel's job in the deep tech weather, and
yes,
together our strength.
Yes, thank you. I mean, this idea of angel doesn't stop at the moment you make the deal. It's really what you can add afterwards, and I'm sure, Florence, you found that in your work. We giving in the time we have available, I really wanted just to kind of turn to looking forward now, because we've come to a certain point, and it's been wonderful to see the work that has been delivered on the ground, and the impact that that's having in both diversity and the overall capacity. But there's more to do, and I wanted us to really just concentrate a little bit now in our final remarks on what do we think not only could be done more on the ground, but how can the EIC, who is really behind all this and our real connection point, what more can we do to build those better connections in these countries, but also generally, are there some kind of policy areas you'd like to think about? Again, turning to you, Florence, you're thinking about your role. You've achieved a lot in transferring experience and knowledge, but what more can we do?
Being a woman angel and having more women angels, I think it's important to understand that what having more women in the angel investment field can bring, because it brings more investors, it brings more funding for different kind of entrepreneur, and it also brings different kinds of projects. So that's the interest of everybody. It's just not having more women angels, because at the end of the day, okay, it's important, but that's not key. What's important is who gets funded, how, what type of project, and it changes the type of finance, of fund, more funding, more project, and different projects to the future. So I think that's really important.
Very well said.
And I think that actually means that it's not just a question of women angels networks. It's a question of any angels network, which should be happy to have more diversity and more different kinds of types of looking at projects in their clubs. So then to come back to your question, I think it's not just funding or helping women business angel networks. It's trying to have all business angel networks, trying to have more women in the networks, because it's for the benefit of everybody. Now, what can be done? I mean, I think there's two things. As we said, events, education, communication is really important, and that needs money and people to actually do that. So it's all a question of money again. Because having people involved in the long run, it's very difficult to do it on a pure non-for-profit level. I think it's important to have people who actually sustainably, in the long run, can do the task, and so it's a question of funding these networks to do more education, to attract more people, to do more events. As we said, we need to tell them they need to be in the game, and so it needs money.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the point you're making is very important, though. We're talking about sustainability, and we know it's not, as you quite rightly said, we're not just looking to build silos of women angel groups in these countries. It's really embedding women into the angel investing community and creating a diverse community. And by the way, not even just women, but wider other communities into the angel community, and then using that to strengthen the overall ecosystem. So thank you for those points, very well made. Teresia, again, from your perspective, again, you've been working on the ground, and you say quite rightly, not just building this as women, but bringing more men to really work alongside you. What do you see are the next steps to really kind of embedding diversity, and what more could be done by us in ESIL, but also perhaps with the EIC's support?
I think showing the examples and the fact that it works is important. You need to see that it's working, somewhere else in your country, that there are angels around you who you can reach, who you can talk to, that it's not an angel in the book in the Silicon Valley, let's say, because it feels quite far away from them. They need to see kind of their person, of their profile in their country, investing, perhaps having a successful angel investment, So I think examples and inspiration is important for women. They always look up to women like them that invested, and that's always a big motivation. Actually, what happens to us very often is that a friend brings a friend or a colleague brings a colleague, you know. If we invest in recently in a health tech company, you know, we had a doctor, a women doctor there, and she was like, hey, I have an amazing colleague, you know, I've been working with for 15 years. She's also a doctor, you know, like she will invest because she believes in my judgment of the technology in the health tech, you know. So it happens like this. I think the inspiration and, you know, bringing someone, you know, who's very similar to you in this way. But I think what is also very important and what is the role of, you know, as the networks and the ESIL is cross-border investments and sharing the deal flow, especially for small markets like, you know, maybe Slovakia, Croatia, Czech Republic. The amount of deals you find there is you know, not as high probably as in the Netherlands or France, etc. Also, a lot of founders, Slovak Czech founders, often go do the research in, you know, universities in Holland, you know, Oxford, or, you know, anywhere else. And we do try to find these founders and invest in them, but I think we do need a collaboration from experienced angels from, you know, Western Europe, possibly, you know, making co-investments with syndicates in other countries, because this helps with the money, of course, the investment capacity. I think, especially in other regions, finding the sufficient amount of money for deep tech projects is very difficult because simply the investment capacity is not there in our market yet. Yeah. And the knowledge, of course.
No, thank you very much. And we do know how important it is, because also one of the things that you've been doing, Teresa, has been building a very strong diaspora. So recognizing there are some amazing women entrepreneurs in other parts of Europe, but also outside Europe, that they have been investing in, which I think is a fantastic thing to do as part of building our cross-border potential, but also sustainability. So thank you for that. And for you, Renata, now, you know, as you've now got to building this fantastic new group and strengthening its role in Europe and in Croatia itself, what do you see more could be done, both through the ESIL project, but also, as I said, working alongside our colleagues at the EIC?
Well, I think we all need, not only us in Croatia, but all the business angels network, we need a marketing budget, and we need to invest in the promotion of the idea and of the thing, to make people invest in businesses rather than buying the fourth apartment or the fifth stupid car. So this is important, and in all of these EU projects, this communication and dissemination portion should be huge, up to 50%. I would advocate for. So we really need to pay to have it on a billboard, as we have invest in a real estate. So this is the bluntly thing. And on the below the line thing area, it's doing it's advocating by doing and giving our own examples, and not hesitating to go public. People has to go public, but you need to jump out of the LinkedIn or whatever in order that then people start believing it's. And it is not being done. I mean, everybody who is saying I'm an angel investor, but I want to be modest, hidden. Why? I mean, why are you ashamed of investing 50,000 euros and you are not ashamed of putting 200,000 in the car or something else? Why?
True. Yeah. No, a very important point. So again, we've had this issue, role models. We had to work really hard on this in the UK to get angels to put their heads above the parapet. Once you do that, it is very, very important. But as you said, it not only is quite time consuming and resource consuming to build an angel group, but to actually build a viable, sustainable, you know, commercially viable angel community in a country. It takes both time, but it takes resources and money. And as you say, awareness raising is absolutely fundamental. I mean, we obviously, among us here at ESIL, we are very conscious of the opportunity to raise more awareness. These are already amazing role models that we're already discovering in these countries, and we want to build more of those. The opportunity to then take these amazing communities that we're building to work cross-border, of course, is absolutely fundamental to our work, but also the opportunity to connect more with the really valuable deals coming out of the EIC is something we do see as part of that ongoing work, because what we need is to ensure that we've got amazing deal flow for these groups that we're building. But I really want to just commend the work that has been done by our amazing people on the ground, both those bringing their own experience, but also those that have been really supporting it. It's the sustainability for us now, the growth of that community, that really is important to us as we move forward. So I'd like to thank my panelists. You've been absolutely amazing and amazing to work with. So Renata, Theresia, and Florence. And I hope we've kicked off the morning for you all. Thank you.